Alright guys, welcome back to another video. It is currently the day before Easter, and so I figured we'd draw a sort of horrific version of the Easter Bunny. Got some big teeth here, big eyes. He's still kind of jovial and smiling, but I just wanted to do a humorous take. So if you have any characters you'd like to see drawn, leave me a comment. I'd encourage you to draw along as well and maybe draw your own version of an Easter Bunny. Alright, so I'm going to start with the eyes since they're so big, and I want to, number one, make this video pretty short. Number two, wake this kind of face up really fast right now. So a good way to do that is just in the eyes. I have this big highlight here, but I'm going to kind of avoid that for now, because that'll pretty much be unblended white pencil for that. And this is the iris here, very small, or pupil. The undersketch didn't take me very long. I used a HB pencil, and I'm hoping that'll help not get so much in the way of my white charcoal pencil here. Because in my last drawing I had a real challenge with how many details it had, and it was just kind of throwing me off. I had to constantly erase and draw again. And I'll do the teeth as well really fast since those look fun. You got big vampire Bunnicula-like teeth on top. And I wanted to make sure I got the big buck teeth as well that is in rabbits. And bunnies. I looked up some photos of them, and it looks like they're pretty much all gum except for two big teeth on top and bottom in the front. You get these lower buck teeth. I made these quite a bit smaller. I just didn't want them to detract too much from what was going on in the upper mouth. Like I said, this one's going to be kind of a fast and loose drawing since, to be honest, I don't care too much about the outcome. I just kind of wanted to have fun with the holiday, I suppose. I don't know, maybe this is almost sacrilegious to try kind of demonic looking bunny, but it seemed fun to me. I guess I had a propensity for this because it was around this time last year. I was out for a walk on a local logging road with my girlfriend, and a really religious person happened to be back there. And you just don't expect that on a logging road. He kind of cornered us and talked a super long time about his beliefs and how we should maybe feel about it. He even had flyers on standby. And to sort of commemorate the experience, I came back and drew a demon, of course. Not because I'm satanic or anything, but the moment just seemed kind of humorous for that. So I drew kind of a goat horned fella. I'm blending the eyes now. I said these are the pupils here. So I'll just blast those in really fast so that we kind of get the idea of where this bunny is gazing. give it some contrast around the eyeball here. It always feels really important with the eyes to get that solid black right around there, just so they are well defined. Do it again over here. Bring this one almost up a little bit on the inside. Should help give us the perspective we're after to some degree. If you heard that thud there, that's my dog named Obi laying against the door because he wants in, but it kind of makes a lot of noise for these videos, so he's a golden doodle. His birthday is May 4th, which is why he has the name Obi, because I thought, well, May the 4th is a kind of cool birthday to have, and he needs a Star Wars name. And since he's tan, is that well? That's the color of Obi-Wan's robes, so he's Obi. I never realized how hard or challenging talking and drawing would be at the same time. I find myself a lot of time just getting locked into what I'm doing and then kind of forgetting to chat, which is not a great habit for what I'm trying to do here. This was also supposed to be like gum here. When I looked up the anatomy of the bunnies, they got really big gums to support those giant front teeth of theirs. Alright. Right now I'm moving my pencil in the area that I think will most give it form for this muzzle here. Alright, let's pick the blend. I always find the more accurately you place your first strokes, the easier it is to blend, because by the time that charcoal gets dragged around, it kind of tends to fade off into the area you need it to. Oh yeah, I had this smile line here, I forgot about this. I wanted to add. Brush out this black too. The longer it stays just kind of sitting on the page, the more likely it is that I smear it and get it somewhere where I'm not intending. I wanted this tooth right here to be almost like a little cockeyed and pointing out of the mouth to help give the drawing some dimension, since I'm not going to draw every bit of fur on the bunny to like kind of poke off the edges of its head and form. So I kind of wanted the tooth to help define that. I don't know what's a smart composition idea or not, but that's what I came up with to try and minimize how much work I had to do here. So I want this gum there. I'll have to work on that gum. I want it to be. I'll just give it a little contrast right there. Maybe now it's sticking out over. I think my next drawing video, oh no, like I said in the previous one, I might do, do you know what, I bet you this will air before that one does. Currently, I know because I just did it a few minutes ago, I put the drawing I'm talking about up as a post because there's a little art competition at the local art store my mom works at where I had my big drawing and then I drew a very tiny version of it. The contest rules were small dimensions, 4x6, 5x5, or 4x5. So I went with 4x6 and drew a portrait. Anyways, that's up as a post right now. And that's the video I'm talking about that I filmed. But in that one I mentioned that I might do some Cormac McCarthy characters or interpretations. I want to do Shigur from No Country for Old Men. I know he's had a live action appearance, but I thought it'd be fun to try my own take on him. And someone in the comments recommended that I do the judge from Blood Meridian. Which I always have a tough time listening to Blood Meridian. I've started and not finished many times, and it's never because it's not good. It's always a specific point in the book with some violence that I kind of just end up checking out at. And I don't know why. Obviously, I draw stuff like this for almost no reason. But I feel like the judge is just kind of evil incarnate, whereas Shigur in No Country for Old Men is kind of chaos, maybe? Like a god of chaos, I'd say. And I thought it'd be kind of fun, I guess both characters, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to do my interpretation of what a chaotic face might look like. I haven't really drawn animals before, so I'm trying to get some shape when your reference is kind of fur. It's a little tough, I'm finding. I might just cheat a little bit here. Do that. I'm aware of my squeaky chair. There's not a whole lot I can do about it, unfortunately. I paid a lot of money for it, and it is really comfy. It just makes noise. It's an autonomous chair. That's the brand name. And it kind of has a back that is shaped roughly like the spine. And so it's nice to sit in for decent periods of time. And sometimes when I'm drawing, I can get so locked in that I don't really take care of myself in any way, shape, or form. I just start drawing. And I'm gonna kind of follow that same idea for the edge of the eye here with the brush to give it that 3D look. I'll do the same right in here. Blend this a little better. I might have to use a jelly roll, this guy, for the highlights, just so it's an extra level of brightness above even unblended white charcoal. And sometimes, if I can't get the color balance I want with blending and shading strokes, I use a jelly roll to help satisfy that. Highlighting the middle of the eye now, so that it kind of helps roll it over. I don't know if that did it or not, but I'm gonna treat it like a cylinder and give it a couple spots where some light touches in some form or another. I do think the HB pencil helped my case out a bit, and I'll probably have to start using that from now on instead of 2B that I have been using. I might just need to buy some HB lead for my mechanical pencil. That's what I usually do my under drawings with, is a mechanical pencil. Kind of get tired of the amount of pencils I have to sharpen and keep sharp just to complete drawings. It's a good gauge for your patience that day, though, how much you're willing to sharpen pencils, and because your drawing is just not going to turn out as good, unfortunately, if your pencils are dull. This part where the muzzle is almost above the eye, I want to give extra light. I'm going to probably come down a little further like that, and we'll hit the edge of this cheek over there. And we're getting to that point where I'm going to start leaving it a little rougher. Just because it almost starts looking like fur or fuzz. Especially with some random pencil strokes. And since it's kind of an anthropomorphized bunny, I'm going to give it some of the traditional, almost human shapes for some of this stuff, like the brows and whatnot. So I'll highlight that one, highlight this one. I want this part where it rolls over the edge of the nose to start getting a little light. Again, I'll push this up pretty high to the eye here. And then you need some here. I lean back a lot in the chair, which is why it squeaks, but it helps me, when I blur my vision, it helps me see kind of the forms and shapes and whether or not it's looking like I want it to. areas. Well, I'll probably check back in with you once I get a little further. Alright, see you in a bit.